In this video, I'm gonna show you an Elden Ring build that would be a game changer in your duels and invasions. For making this build, first we need to talk about some of the most important and yet convoluted stats in the game, because after patch 1.10, the game is massively changed in PvP fights. After that, I will walk you through the making of this build and will showcase everything you need and how you can get them. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, don't forget to like and subscribe not to miss the upcoming videos. Let's dive in. Our focus in this video is on PvP, so all the details and stuff are addressable only to that. I'll try my best to make the explanations quick and simple. In the first step, we need to talk about poise. Poise is the primary system that determines how resistant you are to getting flinched or staggered from enemy attacks. At low values, even a single dagger swipe will cause your character to recoil, and you won't be able to attack or dodge. At high values, you can tank almost all weapon attacks, so you just need to put on the Bullgot set and you're done. Looks good, huh? No, actually, that's not true anymore. Patch 1.10 changed it totally. As I briefly covered in a short video, in the latest patch, poise damage of all weapons and some spells and incantations is increased, which means now a one-handed R1 hit by any weapon class except daggers can break your poise. But does it mean poise is totally useless now? The answer is no, it is not totally useless, but not effective as before, that it was considered as the only stat needed to be tanky. There are two things that need to be elaborated on. As I mentioned, almost all weapons can break your poise just by one hit in PvP, but not all the hits have the same poise damage. Every first hit of a combo breaks the poise, but the second till the last hit will have about half as much poise damage as the first hit. For example, a thrusting sword has 108 poise damage on the first and last hit, but the second till the fifth hit of the combo will have only 54 poise damage. The next one is Hyper Armor. Hyper Armor lets you keep attacking while getting hit. I mean, there are windows during attacks where you or your enemy cannot be interrupted. When you are in the middle of an attack and you get hit, you can keep attacking through that hit if you have enough Hyper Armor. I think this is the main factor that gives you the upper hand in PvP fights. Hyper Armor is directly related to the weapon you use. There are 4 levels of Hyper Armor based on the attack you perform. These levels act as multipliers. If you are interested to know more about them, Struggler VA has made an excellent video and you can check that. There is something called innate weapon poise for each weapon. For instance, colossal weapons have 99 innate weapon poise, which is the highest among all classes. The Hyper Armor level determines how much of that innate poise can be applied, 50% to 200% based on the attack. For example, full charged heavy attacks multiply the innate weapon poise by 2. Now you must be wondering how all these connect together and what needs to be done to be decent in PvP. A Reddit user made a huge effort and posted a full explanation of this. I put the link in the description below. Check it out for a thorough guide on Hyper Armor and poise in patch 1.10. The credit for most of the details about this stuff goes to him. He actually figured out a formula to connect all this. We will get back to the formula and use it for our build later in this video. Now you should know that all hits cause a certain amount of poise damage. For being able to tank a hit, you need to have the same amount or more Hyper Armor and armor poise. Also, you shouldn't forget about the Bullgot's Talisman. It is strongly recommended to equip this talisman as it reduces the incoming poise by 25%. To recap quickly, now we are familiar with the concept of the poise and we know that the armor poise that is shown on the screen is not the only number to determine your resistance, but Hyper Armor level and the Bullgot's Talisman matter as well. After finding out what changes have been done to poise in the latest patch, let's make a decent PvP build. This is totally melee build by having 2 heavy weapons. You would have a throwable to help you in certain circumstances and a weapon skill to boost your stats. I'm level 200 in the New Game Plus and this build is mainly focused on strength, so we have 80 levels of it. Also, to have enough equip load and juice for consecutive hits, endurance is upgraded to 58. Weapons we use scale with dexterity agility along with the strength. Therefore, 55 dex would be decent. 50 vigor to not being one-shot by some players, and lastly, it is nice to have 11 mind to let us use the weapon skill couple of times during invasions. All the other attributes remain untouched. We talked about poise and how it works, so now for choosing a set and then for armaments, we are completely on the same page why we are choosing these options. These are the options that work well in PvP fights on this version of the game. Except for the helm, the veteran set is what we use here. The set has really good defensive stats, and with the endurance we have, equip load won't be an issue, but not for the helm. I suggest using Hozlo's helm instead. It looks more badass compared to the veteran's helm, weighs less, and the difference in defensive stats is not too much. Using this helm would let us invest more in the other character attributes and not sacrifice a talisman slot for Arsenal Charm or Great Jar's Arsenal. To acquire the veteran set, you must defeat Commander Niall at Castle Soul and then purchase the parts you want from Enya at the Round Table Hold. And to obtain Hozlo's helm, you must complete the Volcano Manor questline. If you equip the parts as I suggested, you would have 76 armor poise, and with the Bolgot's talisman, it would go up to 101. Keep these numbers in mind, we will get back to them soon. In this build, we will obviously go for colossal weapons, and not just one, but two of them in your both hands, and they scale with the strength and dexterity. In the right hand, it is the Axe of Godfrey, the armaments that you can get by trading Horalu's Remembrance. Its weapon skill is one of the crucial basics of this build. Regal Roar increases the attack power by 9.6% and lasts for 40 seconds. Also, the charged attack is totally different after using this skill. The other weapon is Rodden Staff. It causes Scarlet Rot build up and can be obtained after killing each one of the putrid avatars in Elphael Race of the Halictree. But how we are going to use these weapons in our fights? I would suggest 3 types of attacks and then calculate how resistant you would be while performing them regarding the hyper armor and poise damage. The first attack is the chained L1 standing attack. You can hit your opponent 3 times in a row with this tactic. Most of the players don't expect to take the third one. They dodge or get away from the first 2 hits and then try to attack you, assuming that your stamina might have been depleted, and boom, your final hit does the job and even closes the fight. To calculate the numbers regarding how resistant to poise break you are by using this attack, we need to get together all the numbers we have. This is the formula. Poise damage is related to your enemy's hits. For example, a one-handed R1 by Great Axe causes 203.5 poise damage. The incoming poise damage multiplier is 0.3475 in our case because we use the Bolgot's talisman. Innate weapon poise for all colossal weapons is 99. Hyper armor multiplier depends on the hyper armor level of the attack. And lastly, our armor poise is 101. The hyper armor level of the standing attack is 2, which means the multiplier of it is 1. So if we put all the numbers in our formula, the poise damage we can resist to while performing this attack is 533.33. The second attack is the L1 jumping attack. This is a common type of tactic in PvP, and we will allocate a talisman for it to cause even more damage. This attack has hyper armor level 1, so the multiplier is 0.75, and the poise damage we can take is 467.35. The third tactic is charge or 2 attack after using the weapon skill. This one has a follow-up attack as well. The hyper armor level is 3 and the multiplier is 2. Therefore, we can take up to 797.33 points damage. Besides the melee weapons, you would have Kukri here to help you in some circumstances, like the one you are watching right now. It helps you in closing the fights when the enemy's HP is too low. It can be bought from the Nomadic Merchant at the eastern side of Whipping Peninsula. Now we need to use some talismans to max out the effectiveness of our tactics. I think you can already guess at least 3 of them. Bolgot's talisman is mentioned several times, and the type of attacks show that it is better to use Twin Blade and Claw talismans. Twin Blade talisman increases the damage of the final hit of chain attacks by 45%, which is useful to maximize the attack power of our first stacking tactic, and you can find it in a chest and Castle Morn. Claw talisman increases the damage of our second attack type, which was a jump attack, by 7.5% in PvP. This talisman can be found on a corpse at the Stormveil Castle. Next is the Bulgot's Talisman. This one is crucial for this build because it reduces the incoming poise damage by 25% and increases the armor poise by 33.3%. After equipping this talisman, you will always have even more poise than what is shown on the character status because the game rounds it down and doesn't show the actual amount, which is 101.38843 in our case. This item can be obtained from a corpse in Dragon Barrow Cave. The last talisman is the Green Turtle Talisman, which boosts stamina recovery speed by 8 per second. For having this talisman, you must pay a visit to Summon Water Village and a spare Stone Sword key. For the Flask of Wondrous Physic, I would suggest using Thorny Crag tier to make consecutive attacks grow stronger by 9, 13 and 20%. The effect lasts for 3 minutes. This item can be obtained after killing Putrid Avatar in Consecrated Snowfield east of Ordina Liturgical Town. The other Crag tier is Green Burst Crystal tier that raises the stamina recovery speed by 15 per second for 3 minutes. Stacking it with Green Turtle Talisman increases the recovery speed by 23 per second. You must kill Earth 3 Avatar in K-Lead to get this tier. Okay guys, that was it. If you have made it this far, now you must know how poise work in patch 1.10, how you can get the best out of it, and how to make the duelist build. Please don't forget to like, comment and hit subscribe. It helps a lot. Thank you. I'll see you in the next one.